Hello.
Hi.
Welcome to the video commentary for episode 107.
Thanks
the
for tuning in.
Most watched episode of Out with Dad.
Yeah.
It's actually disproportionately watched.
Hilarious.
So we have about 25 million views altogether, like
Mhm.
across platforms, including the ill-fated blip. It's no longer. So
Blip.
that was a million views just
Sorry,
gone.
Blip.
Yep, too bad. No, it is actually too bad. That was a great service,
Yeah.
and they really helped promote Out with Dad quite a bit. And it's no small feat that they had. That there was a million views of Out with Dad there. Now this episode though is hugely popular, and it's an entry point for a lot of fans. And so I guess we'll talk about it because this contains scenes like we shot. This contains scenes that is a reshoot.
Mm-hmm.
This contains scenes that
Special
were part of the
effects.
regular shoot.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also the finale, the last day of shooting, or last day principal photography, because the whole scene in the bedroom.
Yeah.
So there's a lot in this episode, and so I'm sure we'll have lots to say.
Oh, I'm
So, oh yes, so we've got people joining us live, and Nino is of course thanking Vanessa that he understands some
Sodium
chemistry.
oxide for a minute. Well, I don't. You'll find out in the commentary. I
Yeah,
had
yeah.
no idea what I was saying.
So those of you who are watching with us live, get ready to press play on your viewers. And for those of you who are watching the recorded version, don't worry, it's going to appear about here. There.
This little box.
Yes. All right. So press play in 5, 4,
3, 2, 1.
So yeah, this is.
I don't get it.
This is that. This is the reshoot. This is actually
Yeah.
in the last episode of Out with Dad that we premiered with the camping trip.
Yeah.
There's a shot in there where Rose and Vanessa are tickling each other. They're wearing the same clothes as this,
Mm-hmm.
and that actually was the original scene for this scene. Now it didn't have all the chemistry stuff, not the graphics and whatnot, but it was still a graphic scene. It was still the textbooks. And Vanessa was still helping, but it's a much more simplified scene. We had a nice like jib,
Yeah.
like rigging and all this kind of stuff. And then what happened is we just had a person, my friend Rebecca, stood in as the mom. We were going to dub in later. And the idea back then was that we were never going to show the mom character, and she's always going to be this like other character that we don't see. And sort of like Muppet Babies. We even had this joke, like we had like green and white striped stockings for her, which we couldn't find. And we were just going to have the mum off camera. But then we realized when we cut the episode together, we actually did need to have a presence. Yeah. And then Kelly Marie recommended Wendy, and we were all terrified by her when we met her because she came onto set and she was the mum. Oh,
and that kiss, that wasn't originally in that first.
Not the first draft.
Yeah,
that came
it was just
later.
Tickling and playing.
Yeah, and I remember actually that was one of those moments where when I was typing, rewriting the script for the scene, I remember it was one of those things where Vanessa kissed her and it surprised me. Like my fingers just did it. I'm like, oh my god, Vanessa's kissing her, and it really was a big deal for me. There's some terribly overexposed stuff here that. I'm ashamed of the photography. Like this shot here, it's just I did a lot of work on it to make it work.
I wouldn't notice that.
No.
I just look at the actors and I'm like, oh, what are we doing?
Yeah, yours like you seriously were like, I'm in trouble.
Oh, yeah. It's also so weird that this was shot, thanks Michelle, in 2012. That's what year are we in? 3 years ago? I didn't shoot it in 2011.
I think this might have been 2011. No, he discovered it in 2012. No, so I think this was 2011 we shot this. So it's 4 years ago. Back when Double Rainbow was a thing.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, he's always said that, in a web series, you should never date yourself. And I actually now agree with him. It's like that makes this episode dated.
Oh, interesting.
And whoa,
so
see, that's an old looking phone. Yeah, that's amazing. But the Pokeroo line, so Pokeroo is, I always like to challenge viewers. It's a Canadian, a character from a children's Canadian television show. It was on TVO, Television Ontario, but it was shown in other parts of Canada. Apparently did show in some places in the US as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And so I heard some great stories from some of our translators because Laura, who did our Italian subtitles for this, she and her dad found like an equivalent character from Italian children's television.
Oh yeah.
And Peter, our Czech translator, he worded it as Columbo's wife, because it's a character you never see, sort of thing. So they did some research. It's pretty cool. So this was like the episode that I was
This is the last thing we shot.
Is one of the last things we shot.
Yeah.
And I remember how nervous I was, and I think I was more nervous than you two were.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Josh came up with that shot.
Yeah.
He's like, Jason, look at this, and he's like, because we had that jib, right?
Yeah.
And he's like, Jason, look what happens when we do this. I'm like, whoa!
And it was such a tiny room, and there was me, Kate, you, Josh, and someone else was in there.
I think Eric might have been there. Yeah, or no, Brandon, that would have been.
Brandon, and we're all in this little room, and we're all like, okay, be so romantic. And
yeah, it was
so
terrible. So actually, you know what? I just remember something. I'm gonna grab here's my season 1 script. So I was so nervous about this scene because like when you're directing a scene, like normally you have like you understand what the motivations are for every step of the way, right? And where are we? Here we go. I found it. So I went so far as we Brendan, who's an artist, he did all these illustrations for me, and then I wrote a poem because
I don't think I've ever seen that.
No. Well, this is more for me because I was so worried about like how do you direct a dream?
Yeah.
Because normally when you direct something, there's motivation behind everything, but in dreams there isn't motivation. But when you're directing and when you're acting, you still have to have a reason for doing it, right? Mm-hmm. So I ended up writing a poem. I used that font. That's funny. I ended up writing this poem, like as if it's like a poem that Rose had written.
Yeah.
And it's like because dreams are sort of poetic. So then once I wrote this poem, I was then able to figure out a shot list.
Yeah.
And like once I had a shot list, then I had something to direct. Because you're not just like, okay, make out, go. Like you can't do that. You have to plan it and get it right. And so anyway, maybe one day I'll read it out loud. It's like a terrible poem, but it didn't have to be good because no one's gonna read it, right?
I'm gonna read it.
All right, I'll read it to you later. Maybe we'll do a reading after the episode. Here's that scene. Oh, I used a clip of this in our last episode again, and that terrible audio in this scene. Like, it's terrible.
Oh, I don't know.
Well, it's because of all the the air conditionings and all that stuff. Yeah. So anyway, conflict. She says conflict, and I actually repeated that line in the last episode as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And I also remember we had to do this shot like 1,200 times because it's like a rack focus.
Yeah, it's a tough trick.
And it was just like one line. She had to keep. Conflict.
It's just like
just
sorry.
Over.
I remember there was a lot of swearing on my part because I was feeling so bad at getting. But yeah, we spent forever on that. I totally forgot about that. Forever.
It's funny what you like remember. Like yes, I remember shooting. I wasn't even in it, but I remember like because I had to keep walking back. And like, oh
yeah, I can still remember this image of Kate's face after one of the takes where she was just like she felt bad for me because she could see that I was feeling bad for her. Oh my god, it was so crazy.
Yay!
So anyway, so should we read this stupid poem? I'll let you read it out loud.
Okay, great. I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's terrible. Okay, but I'm prefacing this reading by saying like it was never intended for anyone to ever hear. It's just like I did it was more as an exercise for me. So all right, go ahead. Read this terrible poem.
They entered each other's lives. From the outside, they looked obsessed, but it was innocent. They share everything. But Rose was unsure about something within. She is sure she cares deeply, yet she hides something from Vanessa. She wants her to pull it out of her. She wants to reveal the truth, to keep Vanessa as her own, to hold her, to escape the conflict, for everything to be simple. Conflict. Well,
that's terrible.
I added that.
But it did like it did help because like it sort of helped illustrate oh wait, where is it now? Like just the fact that like she wanted Vanessa to pull it out of her.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's that kind of stuff. I don't know where it is. Actually, there's lots of kind of neat things in here. Like here's like the layout. Like that's the layout of the living room. And so like we were trying to like figure out like where to place the cameras and stuff like that. And then yeah, and then of course you can see here, like I go through and I number all the shots and stuff like that. I don't know what else is there to see. What's that? Oh yeah, see, and then sometimes
Jason draws.
they don't have to look good. Like it's just like they're not. These aren't so much of this stuff. It's not meant to be seen, right? But here it is. Yeah, so everything was but Rose was unsure about something within, so this is Rose is like, her personal journey of basically first season. And so when I went through and did the shot list for the dream, it was a lot of questions like the kissing is like, I remember saying like, I want you to pull, Vanessa's gonna pull this kiss out of you, Rose, and that was my way of saying like, because obviously it's a dream, so like Rose is in command of the action. So in a way, it was like Rose was directing that scene, and this is what Rose wants and stuff like that. Oh, and I was gonna do the iris out, which never happened. This is how I kind of do it. So there's little like things like, here's all the shots where they start and begin. How much we're gonna cover it. We need to get this part and this part, and So anyway, that's how I direct.
They're all asking about is the other deleted. There is, I think it's released, the deleted scenes of this.
Well, I don't know if it's. No, I don't know if the whole scene is released. Oh, maybe I
feel like you did release it.
I feel like I did too. Oh, you know what? I released it in the old the VIP Facebook group that we don't really use that much anymore.
Oh,
That was like a season 3 perk.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole scene. The fans who are watching live with us right now, they're asking about that deleted scene. So it's not a deleted scene. It's a scene that we reshot. And reshoots happen all the time. Not very often with us because we can't afford to do reshoots, but it's happened before. Like there's another scene, for instance, where in season 3 when Kenny and Rose are walking. This is after the news is out that Vanessa's missing. And we actually had to reshoot that scene because it was so cold that the actors looked like they were freezing, like you could kind of hear the snot in their nose and everything like that. So we went and reshot that scene. So sometimes we do reshoots before we even start editing because we know. Or pickups, like the scene remember when in season 3 when Kenny, when Vanessa sits down beside Kenny and they have that conversation.
Yeah.
And we shot it with 4 cameras all around them, sort of thing. But the shot on Kenny, it wasn't lit as well as Lindsay was lit. So we wanted to, and so we were hoping if there was time, because we were coming back to that location, we were going to grab that Kenny shot. And so we did. So the shots on Kenny was about a week later, I think. Yeah.
And you can't tell it all.
No, I can't. I really struggled with there's a hint more green in that shot than the other one. Anyway.
Well, I don't know.
I'm just being picky.
If anyone noticed, comment.
No, don't. Just let it go. Let it go. So, are there other deleted scenes? There is another scene. It would have been episode 9 of season 1, except that we didn't do it, and that was when Rose comes out to Dad. So we shot the Rose's coming out scene.
Yeah.
And we shot it in the same location in the dining room, and actually in that scene it was shot. Here's my cover. This is the first doodle I ever did when I first came up with the idea for the show, and I had this image of this profile shot of them eating soup. In fact, there's a time where we were thinking that the slogan for the show would be something like something and a lot of soup or something like that.
Really?
Yeah. That disappeared. So we did shoot the coming out scene, but it came off. We did it sort of. It wasn't intended to be included in episode 8, but then it could have been if we wanted to. And then because we felt like it would have been a good conclusion to the series if that was the end of the series. But then we were kind of all hoping, well, hopefully we'll do a second season, which obviously, season 4.
Hey.
And so we decided, all right, well, in that case, it would be a good season 2 opener. So we'll just bump it to the season 2 opening. And then when I started cutting the scene together, it was so melodramatic and it was not fun at all. It was such a serious scene, and it just wasn't good. So I rewrote it and added in a lot more humor and yeah, we added in the head. There's a head Nathan and there's a head Rose, and tell him the whole opening, and and so like it's I'm way happy with that one. So I mean that one I'll never share because it would mean I'd have to edit it first. I'm not going to do that because it's not good enough.
It takes a long time.
You can see bits of it in the first season trailer if you look for it.
Oh.
Yeah. But I don't think anything from season 2 ever hit the cutting room floor.
We're pretty we shoot it and we use it.
We have to,
and
because
that's the way it rolls. We don't have the time and we don't have the resources or people or money to reshoot things.
No. So we kind of have to make it work.
So on the day, it's always flawlessly great. But actually, it is though compared to other sets I've been on. The efficiency and what we get done in a day is like triple.
Yeah.
What regular TV shows do.
Well, and we've learned a lot. We've learned a lot how to make it even more efficient. Like this is why. So the next episode, some of our patrons have already seen the. By the time this is out, it'll be out. I don't know. The next episode of Out with Dad 406. It's another one of those really long take shots like we did with the episode 2 with Alicia. So it's kind of becoming a motif with the Alicia episodes is these really long takes because they actually, while they're more challenging on everyone's part to get it done, they are super efficient because while the camera's rolling, you're all on and you're so focused, but in between shots, that's when everything slows down because you're not making anything. You need time to reset up shots, and that's what a lot of the comments we've been reading lately is like, why isn't there more action in the show? And so, well, it's because that actually takes up infinitely more time. Yeah. It's like it's a lot of time, and so like that dream sequence in this episode, for instance, like that took a whole afternoon.
Yeah.
And it's only about 20 seconds long. So, with season 4, we're not going to spend a whole day for a 20-second episode. Nobody wants a 20-second episode. So that's why it's like, all right, but we could spend a whole afternoon and do an 8-minute shot. And then you got an 8-minute episode with 8 minutes of storytelling. And so that's the logic behind a lot of what we're doing now, like to try and really make it, give you more bang for your buck, basically. Yeah, for
sure.
So anyway, so I think this was a good talk.
Yeah,
we read an embarrassing poem.
Rewatching the episode.
Yeah. Have you seen it in a long time? Like
no. I haven't seen anything in a long time. No. Like actually to be like, oh, episode 107, like there was only one more. Like I couldn't even remember what season finale was. It's so nice.
Well, you know what else is cool? Actually, I just remembered this was the very first the song, the Late July song. That was the first piece of music secured for this show. And there's actually a cool story behind that I'd love to share. I was just on Facebook one day and Adrian had posted a link to the music video for that. And the music video is quite lovely. I'll put a link in the description below. It's Nicole playing the piano. It's beautifully shot. And because the song is just so pretty. And I didn't know what scene I wanted it for. I was like, I know this needs to be in Out with Dad. So I asked Adrian, like, do you think she'd be cool with this? I didn't know who she was. And he's like, oh, I think she would be very supportive of the idea. So he introduced me and without hesitation, she's like, yes, use it. And then, it's funny because Sidestep came out before this, but it was many, many weeks, months later before I heard that song.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like I had this like gem of piece of music, to play us. And so we did know what song it would be when we were filming, I think. I don't remember either. But at any rate, it's a pretty song. I think it's a beautiful song. Yeah. And when this episode came out and when episode 4 came out, she was saying that her album was sold online more in that period of time than it ever had before. So it was really nice to see that including local music in the show really makes a big difference. And so when I go speak to other musicians, like, would you like to have your, may we have your song in our show? I actually got to say with actual confidence, it could be a big deal. Like, we could actually be helping each other here. And so it's, that's something I love doing. And, and whenever I'm writing, I always think about like, what songs can we include? Like, where's a place for that, so.
That's good. And Adrian, yes, he is a great musician.
He's like the oh my God, he's so good. And it's sort of been like he's been nominated for a lot of awards, and he's scored so many web series too, right? And he's won awards for those, but he's never won an award for his music for With Dad. And it's like I don't think people realize just how good and how much thought is in it. Like there's no music, none of his music in this episode actually. Well, that's not true. He produced the Late July song.
Yeah.
But that's but like there's like it's rich with leitmotifs, you know, like there's the Rose and Vanessa theme, there's the Rose Claire theme, there's also a Vanessa theme. Like Vanessa has her own theme. She's the only character with her own theme. Then we, you know, the musical, of course, the musical is the Rose Claire theme actually comes from the musical. So like we wrote the song first so that we could have her theme. Like so much thought goes into music because I'm obsessed with film music myself. And so so it's really great that we got to have a show like this, that we got to develop such great musical themes. And that's something I'm really missing in season 4 because we can't afford music. And so apart from me just recycling music for the end credits, it's just like, you know, that's another reason why I can't wait till we can afford to have music in it again, because I think it's such a part of what Out With Dad is, and it's not something we talk about. You know, like that's one of the reasons the audience doesn't know why season 4 feels different. That's actually one of the reasons. It's because there's no music. Like it's completely music free, except for the first episode, which has a song in the background by my friend George. And then like the awkward moment with Dad, that was just me recycling music from season 2 and 3. So like, you know, I hate recycling music. I want it to be new. So there. Anyway, we've talked a lot. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. I don't know. It's nice. It's fun looking back at these things.
It is. It's really fun. I love it.
Yeah. Super fun. So we'll say adieu, everyone. Goodbye.
Bonsoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Sayonara.
Ciao.
Avita Zen.
Mañana.